I'm far from the first person to talk about The Outer Wilds. I'm far from the first person to gush about its story, its puzzles, its music, or its world. But what makes The Outer Wilds so special, maybe even one of the greatest stories ever told, is that I'm far from the first person who's been helped or even healed by it. For me, this game was the first thing that helped me begin accepting the loss of a friend. So, let's start at the beginning. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know the basics, but just in case, here's the short version. In this game, you play as a four-eyed alien exploring a handcrafted solar system in a wooden spaceship. After 22 minutes of exploration, the sun collapses into a supernova, killing everything. Then, darkness. Then, stars. You've woken up, like it was just some dream. Staring up at the night sky, you just saw engulfed in flame moments before. You're in a loop, and it just started over. It's like a self-aware game over screen. Instead of feeling like you failed, and the real story is the one where your character never stumbles, never wavers, and certainly never dies, The Outer Wilds builds failure into the core loop. You explore, discover secrets, piece together ancient mysteries and stories, try to stop the end that you know is coming. Explode. A lot. Wake up at the start, and repeat. If you're here for a breakdown of the mechanics, I'm going to have to disappoint you. There are plenty of creators far more qualified to explain this game and the details and how you play it. These ones in particular are great. What I want to talk about is why this game matters. Why it mattered to me. And who I played it with. I was introduced to The Outer Wilds during senior year of college. I was, for lack of a better word, freaking out almost constantly. Juggling classes, multiple jobs, the stress of graduating, starting a new relationship, and rent, just to name a few, had me pulling my hair out. Then my dog, who I'll admit can do no wrong, went and tried to eat every toxic thing he could. Everything is better now, but I was fading fast. In the middle of all this, my roommate, someone who didn't really understand subtlety, and felt this intense desire to endorse the things that he loved, told me about The Outer Wilds, a game he'd started but never finished. He wanted to see how it ended, and asked if I'd play it on his Switch while he watched. I said sure. I needed a break. And from the first hour, I was hooked. I went straight to the Hourglass Twins, and then the sun exploded. So I went again, and again, and then 10 more times, and then 5 more after that. I was obsessed. The game's structure, the discovery, the atmosphere, it felt made for me. It reminded me of all my favorite things. Each planet held something personal. I think my friend knew that. He nudged me toward the places he knew I'd love, as well as the ones I'd hate. I hate the ocean, thanks to a certain game, so exploring Giant's Deep made my skin crawl. But I kept coming back to solve what was going on. I had to know. The Hourglass Twins reminded me of games I played growing up. It scratched an itch I hadn't found in years. Dark Bramble. To be honest, I hate this place. Never enjoyed it once. I remember my friend crouched in the corner of our couch, just letting me waltz in there, thinking it was some cool fog planet. Yeah, hilarious. But what made our playthrough so special was it wasn't just this game. Right? It was the experience of playing it with someone. He knew most of the answers, but he never spoiled anything. never gave me any help, just smiled, whether I was spot on or dead wrong. Eventually, after weeks and weeks of late-night sessions, we reached the ending. I remember unlocking the final piece of the puzzle. It all just sort of fell into place when we remembered we had friends coming over. I set the controller down and turned off the TV. But then the plans changed and got moved to another night. I looked at him and we booted the game back up. We played until the end, and the credits rolled, and we sat there, stunned. For me, the goal of the game had always been to understand why the sun was exploding. But for him, it was how we were going to stop it. So, when we reached the end and realized the truth, that you can't stop what's coming, we had very different reactions. At the eye of the universe, with all the mysteries revealed, you witness. You and your companions gather, you sit around a fire, and you play music. You don't save the day. You carry the spark forward, not to stop the end, but to feed that spark to the next universe, where hopefully it'll catch fire and burn with the outline of a song that was sung by friends. That moment reshaped how I thought about grief and acceptance, because a few weeks later, my friend took his own life, and everything in my world fell apart. Every emotion felt wrong. I searched for answers. I needed it to make sense, but grief rarely offers explanations. Eventually, his friends and family organized a memorial for fellow students. I gave a eulogy. I'd written it a few days before, inspired by this game we'd played together, because I realized that the Outer Wilds had already given me exactly what I needed. It told me what I needed to tell them. That you don't solve grief. There's no outwitting it. There's no twist ending that makes it all okay. But you can sit with it. You can gather around a fire. You can invite others to join you. You can keep the music going and sing. The night after he passed, a group of us did just that. We built a fire on a night far too cold to be outside. We watched as our breath mingled with the smoke. I brought my guitar, and we sang his favorite songs. And we cried, and when we finished, it was easier. We remembered. The Outer Wilds is a game about knowledge, but not in a traditional sense. There's no combat, no experience points, no boss fights, nothing to memorize, no patterns. You just explore. You listen, you observe. And as you do, you piece together the story of an ancient people who couldn't stop their own end, who fought against it until they couldn't anymore. I think it's telling that the only survivor you find joins you to choose something else. Music, connection, beauty. That choice stuck with me. Because in real life, sometimes the sun does explode. Sometimes it feels like the world is ending. Maybe not for everyone, but for you. There's no preparing for it. But it's stories like the Outer Wilds that remind us it's in silence that music rings out the clearest. There is strength in facing the end together. I mentioned my friend and I had very different reactions to the ending. I'm sure you can guess mine. But he hated it. He wanted resolution, a mission, a win. And I've asked myself if I had grasped the ending sooner if I had sat with him, played music around a fire more often? Would things have been different? I don't know, but I don't need to. What I do know is this: I got to share in something beautiful with someone that I cared about. We laughed at every crash landing, we screamed at the anglerfish like we could scare them off, and we enjoyed every second of it. And that mattered. This game helped me start talking again. It helped me remember the good times, not just those endings that we're all afraid of. Grief tricks you into thinking it's a time loop. It convinces you that it is infinite, that nothing changes, that no matter the progress you made today, it'll just be undone tomorrow when the loop resets. But it does change. It softens and it reshapes, and it becomes a part of your song. This dissonant note that makes the melody so much more beautiful in the end. It doesn't reduce you, it doesn't win. So, if you're watching this, and you've lost someone, or the weight is just getting too heavy to bear, you are not alone. The universe isn't empty. Come and sit by the fire, because there's plenty of room. And if you can't see the flames from where you are, that's okay. I promise you that you will find someone if you keep looking. That's the story, isn't it? Looking at supposedly barren planets only to find semblance of life there. Gathering friends with instruments. So, tell stories. And listen. And play music. And when the loop resets tomorrow, and that pain feels brand new, let's all try again. Together.